Got It In You, sung by Banners. Losing one's grip on reality can be a very scary experience. Admittedly, there is a time or two I have wondered about my own grip, flailing my hands around, sinking in a vast sea, seeking something to grasp, until I hear that voice in my head, "Stand up. Your feet can effortlessly reach the stable ground you've created." The civilized world is a sea storm, and hearing that voice in a cacophony has proven to be a challenge. That's why my primary movement is to find a quiet space and invoke my chant. I just want to be in my own skin. I just want to be in my own skin. It's almost like there's no place like home as I click my ruby slippers, but it's also different. First, I don't have ruby slippers. Second, I'm calling all of myself home rather than me going elsewhere. Often, I feel like parts of me are still out tending to others who I serve or guide. I've guided many to that edge. Losing a grip on reality is not too dissimilar to a sense of drowning in the ocean. Like an expert drowner turned lifeguard, I keep my distance when tossing the life preserver, allowing us both the greatest chance of survival. I haven't concluded which I find more difficult, the ones who rush to the edge, ready to take the leap of faith into the depths of a stormy sea, or the ones who are like obstinate donkeys being led to water. Both are exhausting. I prefer to walk side by side rather than holding back or pushing forward. I've been called a cult leader, a seer, a witch, an oracle, a priestess, a mystic, a wizard, and a saint, to name a few. None offend me, and most times I burst out laughing, depending on the tone used. Heretics have long carried the pioneering burden of living on the edge and sometimes tipping off the bounds of a reality. In Einstein's case, a highly revered contemporary, Eddington, gave creed to his general relativity, and subsequently madness became genius, which ultimately expanded human consciousness and innovation. Although the other Einstein, Mileva Merrick, was written out of the story, there could be something behind the cliche, behind every great man is a great woman. I don't expect, nor do I want anyone to discover me in the hopes of making me visible in some revolutionary shift. I prefer to stay on the edge as I expand my stable ground. The building blocks of my stability are symbolized on the mantle of my fireplace. The University of Denver College, upon the nomination of the faculty, admitted me into the degree of Bachelor of Science in Accounting with all the rights and privileges here and everywhere appertaining to that degree. St. Mary's University of San Antonio stated I, a distinguished graduate having successfully completed the course of study as prescribed by the faculty and board of trustees, was awarded the degree of Masters of Arts Community Counseling with all the rights and privileges appertaining to that degree. St. Mary's University of San Antonio conferred I successfully completed the course of study as prescribed by the faculty and the Board of Trustees, was awarded the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Counselor, Education, and Supervision with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities appertaining to that degree. The State Board of Accountancy of the State of Colorado certified that I presented the board satisfactory evidence of fulfillment of the requirements specified by statute and by the rules and regulations of the board adopted thereunder, is duly qualified, and is hereby granted the certificate as a certified public accountant. National Board of Certified Counselors, Inc. named that I successfully met the professional counseling standards established by the board, and in so doing have earned recognition as a national certified counselor. 5 Mountain Zen Order, on my certificate of refuge, states that if I pass through this gate, do not give rise to thinking not dependent of words and speech, a special transmission outside the scriptures. Find your heart, mind, and come Buddha. I was renamed Sunim Suki, translated to pure compassion, when I took my precepts at the Lotus Heart Zen Center. These are the selected items curated over a lifetime of evidence I have participated and have earned the privilege and rights appertaining to these realities governed by their boards and faculties and monks. I belong, at least according to these documents. I am mounted and framed and certifiably privileged. Yet tucked in the corner of the mantle, backed by these degrees and certificates, is my edge, the place where I mark how I intend to be deeply altered. A white box of tea-light candles rests behind my small copper bowl filled with a prior day's burnt candle floating on the water. A lighter is tucked behind a framed certificate. A poem by David White called Midlife Woman is lying under a picture I took of my divination cards representing what it's all about. It, as in my altered life. Stacked on the image and poem is a rock from Whidbey Island I collected when I took my nephew for his 20th birthday. Along with my son and daughter, we walked the beach picking up shells, sand dollars, and this rock. We went to Useless Bay Coffee, each of us picking out a delight to celebrate the event, the young ones I serve and have the true privilege to guide. There was a dried red rose found one day on a walk lying on the path all alone. No rose bush in sight, seemingly dropped out of the sky by my love, I was sure encouraging me to keep going. A pine cone from the day I was at Aroma Coffee in Fall City. I was staring out the side door in the back of the cafe, waiting to hear my name, indicating my vanilla breve latte was made. The cone was tossed at my feet by the pine tree hovering over the building, a seed of life. I knew it was saying, "This is for you, my love. Keep your eyes open for the seeds. Don't give up." A black crow's feather I came across on the gravel trail that connects my neighborhood, skirting the perimeter of the backs of our homes. We live in Tree Farm, a perfectly fitting name for our suburban community and getting more suburban every year. Sprinkled around town are landmarks of its origins as a tiny family-run mill long before it was incorporated into King County. I'm sure the crows are equally aware of the incorporated royal changes in this sprawling city. I picked it up as I heard, "Take my feather, add it to your altar, love has sent me." A bamboo shoot is unraveling in my collection. I clipped this from my potted bamboo to use for a summer solstice ceremony. My bamboo is potted because my neighbor did not pot his. His bamboo has overcome his property to the point where his back fence facing the gravel trail bulges to its brink. I'm sure one day his hound dog is going to knock it over just as I'm passing to join me on my walk. This summer ceremony, I demanded an answer from my love when I could expect an arrival. How many more items did I need to gather, and how many rituals did I need to perform? There is a bundle of mistletoe from the winter solstice ceremony. From a strict Celtic perspective, mistletoe is used at summer solstice, but I didn't have any official winter yew handy, although my neighbor does. I didn't think it was cool to take a clipping from her yard. The mistletoe just happened to show up earlier in the day when the kid's dad stopped by. I wasn't sure what he needed it for, and I didn't ask. I did ask, "Can I have that mistletoe?" He had a quizzical expression, but knew better than to seek understanding and just handed it over, though he did cock that brow, wondering if I would be willing to settle the exchange. I didn't. It is these rituals that mark my devotion to my altar, to an alteration process I continue to discover, one that needs space and time outside the collective reality. When I consider Mileva Merrick Einstein's role in a scientific revolution, I see her behind-the-scenes focus, a channel and guide to her husband. In a letter to her close friend Helene Savitt in June 1929, she wrote, "Such publications and newspapers do not suit my nature at all," referring to an article which proffered her direct involvement in the theory of special relativity. Some have tried to elevate her status, which I can only imagine makes her turn in her grave as she bellows to the well-meaning advocates, "Let me rest in peace. I do not wish to be your hero. I never needed status. I did it for love." Therein lies my secret, peace discovered by residing in the margins and behind the scenes. I've never related to anything more than to a longing that pulls me out of this world with its stages and awards and accolades. I can't name my longing, for it feels unnameable for now. I see flashes of this, feel flashes, like a word on the tip of my tongue. It's like I'm haunted with a deep knowing, a dream that woke me as our hands touched and my body glowed with a sensation of summer, softness, smiles, and contentment. I was enchanted, so I lost my grip. Care to join me?